you haven't already, go ahead and get out your Living in the Freedom of the Spirit. And we're going to just have a couple of chapters to cover today pretty quickly. And so we're on chapter 12 today, starting with chapter 12. I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Sorry. I know, I was just saying I'm a little bit behind you. You said we're on chapter 12.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. That's okay. We'll take all of it, right? Okay. So chapter 12 is entitled God's Answer for the Flesh. Right? This is a very interesting chapter about opening up the discussion that we kind of talked about earlier today, as a matter of fact, when we were talking about Yahweh Shema, about the discussion about the external law, the law that is about the listing, right? And the way in which God asks us to start thinking about it as internal law, the internal way. Where does our motive come from? Does it come from the rules? Is it about the rules? Or is it about the way that we react and act out of our hearts? That's the way that I, at least, start looking at this chapter. What about anybody else? What spoke to you in this chapter? Or do you have any questions about anything in this chapter?
The chapter really just spoke to me because it's all about having a still heart. It's like rigid rules versus Jesus' love that we have on our heart freely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the difference between knowing something that we're supposed to do and we don't do it, and following Jesus and wanting to do it because we love him so much and we want to obey him. It's freedom. It's got freedom versus rigidity
Mm-hmm.
to me. So I don't know if that really spoke to me.
Right. Can everybody hear what she had to say? Anybody? She's talking about the difference between following a rule because of either out of fear or out of something that may happen, some consequence that may happen. And if I can say it this way, that the other way is absolutely following, it may be the same principle, but you're following it because of love from your heart. Because if we follow the external way of doing it, we're just doing it out of will, right? If I can say it that way. We're just doing it, sometimes we're white knuckling it, right? I'm going to do this because I'm supposed to do it, I think were your words, right? Rather than to say, okay, this may be challenging, but I know what God's asking me to do. So I'm asking him, what do I do in this moment? That does not mean that the challenge isn't there. It means that the reason that we are doing it, or the motive of our heart, is different. From a stony heart, perhaps, of rigidity, to an open heart of, okay, I'm going to do this out of obedience, and I'm going to let you have the outcome.
So and the stone part for me is like you do something without even understanding why you do it. Or
Right.
what is the actual purpose behind what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're just doing it to do it. Like a lot of people follow a rule because they ask, well, why do you do that? What's the reason about that? Well, it's the way my family's always done it. That's the way we do it. It's
Right.
tradition. Well, like, where does it come from? Like, why do you want to continue that? Well, it's because of the way we always do it.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to really looking at it and saying, what is the purpose of this? And why am I doing it? And do I want to continue it? And, you know, it's really looking at it closely.
Right. But Teresa, is what you're talking about, is people's rules, or is it God's rules? Because I got a little confused right there about what you're doing.
It's the stony heart is people rule versus God's rule is in the heart.
Okay. Joe, what were you saying?
The stony part of it being the watches.
Right,
It
right,
goes the right way,
yeah,
which is more about that opening. Whereas, the stony heart is closed, it's shut down, it's protected, it's fortified. The flesh is open and it's not worried, it's not afraid, it's absorbing. So it's a sponge, and it's absorbing everything, whereas the stony heart is thin.
yeah. Well, what you're talking about is the difference between having a rebellion against God in the sense of, I just need to do this, I can do this. Kind of like what Marshall was talking about, having the pride of, I will this, I will do this, I can do this, follow God in His rules. Right. And when we try to do that, out of our own strength, then we find that just does not work really well for us, right? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Right, and when we follow God, when we just say, I'm just going to be obedient to what you tell me to do, that's freedom. Is that what I heard you say? Absolutely. Right. Right. Very good. Exactly. On page 117, about the middle of the page, it says, so the Holy Spirit worked in the humanity of Jesus to create the set of inner values, and that is the new self or the mind controlled by the Spirit. Right? This is kind of what Teresa was asking. Why do we do what we do? What is the motive of our heart? And if our hearts are filled with the Holy Spirit, then we have an internal way of viewing and seeing things that has, again, it may be, on that tablet said, do not steal. But when we're tempted to steal, whatever that may be, are we doing that because of what the law says externally, or is it because we're asking God and opening up our hearts to what it is He wants us to do in that moment? If we have a need, what do we do? Do we turn to a set of rules there, or do we ask God, what is our value in that? What do we value? What does God value? How valuable are we to Him? Exactly. So let's talk about that a second. In chapter 13, at the bottom of page 122, it says, we are free of the authority that made us slaves to sin. The compelling and dominant effect of the inner values of the sinful nature is rendered powerless. Its hostility to the law of God, unchanged though it is, can no longer keep us in chains. We can be, by a simple decision of our will, come free from the flesh, but because of our strength of will, not because of our strength of will, but because the cross and our death there has ended the power that it had over us. What do you guys think about that?
It's just relieving knowing that we're saved no matter what. So no matter how bad we think we are, or what we do in the world and condemn ourselves, we're redeemed if we can just let it go.
Yeah.
Accept it.
Right.
And accept it. Human nature will not let us accept it. That's the good part about making the decision. Right. It's all about decision.
Right. It is all about our decision. That's exactly right. I'm going to have you guys turn. I'm very curious. Here's something I'd like you guys to turn to page 126 and 127. And this whole discussion here about the flesh, the old self, and the spirit, the new self. Did anybody mark anything on these couple of pages? Any questions about anything? What do you think? Did anybody have some revelation as they read through this particular section?
I highlighted the above that at the top. It says that any time obedience to whatever who got yourself into smoking addictions or whatever. And then when Jesus, because I had addiction, and I thought, there's no way, that I'll always go back to that. And when I was redeemed of it, it's just like, it was literally like, turn it off. There was nothing. The desire to go nothing. It was like, wow, that's, there's no explanation for it, nothing whatsoever. And so your mind still wanders because the world's still going on.
Right.
Life goes forward, regardless of what you believe or what other people believe. And your mind wanders and it says, well, let's just test and see if you still have any of those feelings. And you can easily get back right back into it. But just because you do it doesn't mean that there's still no desire.
Right.
It's still, it's like, the only thing I can equate it to is drinking your favorite soda every day. And, you get clear of it, and then you see Sprite. That's my downfall, Sprite. So you see the advertisements, like, oh man, that looks good and all. Like, when you go to taste it, and it's like soda water. So you're like, and you're still, your mind's like, but that's what it's supposed to taste like. But it still doesn't taste like.
Right.
And it's Sprite. Nothing changed.
Yeah.
Something in here changed.
Exactly.
Taste buds, something. And it's just like, But you drink it because it's somewhere, you get that little fizz, you get that little bubble, and somewhere it's satisfying you. But after a while, you're like, oh, this is stupid. I'm going to try something else.
Right.
And so you just redirect. And something healthy like tea or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I can do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here's the thing. If you've ever been delivered, which is what I'm hearing you talking about, if you've ever been delivered out of anything, whether it's shame, whether it's an addiction, whether it's just a habit, whether it is maybe the way in which God has had some redemption in about how we even speak to people. How do we, that He has convicted us in some way about and shown us, given us a glimpse of, oh my goodness, that's the impact I'm having. And that's not the impact I want to have. So Lord, show me how I can have a different impact. And He does that, and there's a redemption there. And oh my goodness, you start making that happen. You start making it, and you get it. You get it, you get it, you get it. And then something happens, or, can we grab back a hold of that old way? Absolutely. Now, is it flavored the same? Likely not. But that does not mean that we cannot grind that back out. And that can happen. It sure can happen. Because we have a choice about it. Right? The thing is that as God redeems things, as God heals things, it is not without us knowing that we're doing it. It's a different way, for sure. As we have grown up and we have had things happen and we have gotten, sure, it has developed us. We especially affected our belief systems. We keep talking about that. We're going to keep talking about that because it's huge. It's a key to so many things. All the teachings that we've had keep talking to us about, so what do we do about that? How do we, well, okay, next week we're going to start. This will happen. This is going to be great. And the thing is that once you get past that, you will have a different understanding than what you have right now. And God is already breaking things. You can see that. We're hearing it. You guys are talking to us. You're talking in this room about it. That is awesome. This is just the way in which He is going to work. The way in which He loves. And guess what? We do not hand out in this syllabus or anywhere else in any material, here are the rules that you need to follow in this ministry.
It's on that same section, but it's where it starts on page 124, where it talks about one nature or two. That really stood out to me that says that talks about who's responsible. It's like, we still have, there's two competing authority systems, two Bible systems of inner value. But we are still responsible for ourselves. We can't say, I didn't really think about it like that before, but like if you commit a murder, and then later you say, well, that was before I knew Christ, so, you know, or you try to make excuses for yourself. You know, they're trying to separate the two natures, and they are separate, but God still has to, we still have to have consequences from our actions, because that was a choice. That really stood out to me, because I didn't really think about the people talked about there having big controversy between, you know, do we convict a person based on their new nature, or like do we convict a person based on their old nature? They still have to be responsible. That really stood out to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, right, because if I'm understanding what you're saying, Teresa, is that there are consequences for all of our actions. And consequences are not necessarily in categories of good and bad, they just are. It is back to what we just talked about at the very beginning of this class this morning. What God showed me, and that is, there is a cause. The thing is how are we going to be? And yes, for sure, you know, if I speak kindly, there's a consequence to that. There's an impact in that. And it doesn't matter why I'm doing it. There will be consequences because of it. And for sure, everything that we have done, the way in which we've lived out our lives, I mean, there is impact. And I'm going to, you know, suffice to say, that's one of the reasons why I ended up in this class to begin with, was because of the things in which had led me here, right? And why I'm standing before you today is because of the things in which have happened to me that I'm standing here today. What I'm doing tomorrow, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow.
I guess the reason why that stuck out to me, because I think it's at the point where a person recognizes that, yeah, well, maybe you didn't mean to do it, or maybe you did something in the heat of the passion, or maybe you didn't mean that bad thing when you said it. You're still responsible for it. And when the person recognizes at that point that they're responsible for that, and they say, you know what, I want to change that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be like that anymore.
Right.
It's at that point where that's the new self. You still have to be responsible for what you did, but
Sure.
it's a choice that you're making, that you recognize that's how you work. If you really want to continue to be like that,
Right.
is that who you want to stay, or do you want to allow Christ to work something new?
Yeah. And so what you're describing is the internal way in which it affected your heart and gave you revelation in your heart. Not because it was something you read, not because it was rules that was put before you to say, you're breaking these rules. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And by being able to own that, by being able to, yes, exactly. That awareness is huge in having you and God working together to be who you.
I was at a real place in my younger years where I was angry and I blamed my parents for everything. And I said, I'm the way I am because of them. I was blaming everybody
Right.
for my actions until one day, I don't know what happened. I decided the Holy Spirit was working in me, even though I hadn't come to Christ completely. I always knew there was a God, and I prayed every day. So I know He was working on my heart, my stony heart, to show Himself to me, but He knew He was going to do something in me. So, He began showing me things, what I didn't know He was showing me.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I became responsible. I said, you know what? I don't want to be like that anymore. I'm going to stop making, excuses for what happened in the past. I don't have to stay like this. I don't have to be like this. I can be something else.
Right.
So it was at that point where I recognized that old self, and then I decided my free will that I know we're not going to change. Actually ask God in my heart down a different path.
Right, good, that's excellent. Good. Okay, so does anybody have anything else in these chapters? Anything else that they want to share?
Can I share something?
Yes.
Okay. This just, chapter 13, I just inhaled it. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I think just because I walked so many years just powerless, not in victory. I knew Jesus, but I had no power until I learned who the Holy Spirit is. And so let's just put it into words about my experience, how the Spirit is intended to rule. And if He's ruling, we are to be obedient.
Right.
And it becomes natural. And then we have that freedom.
Right. And so what you're talking about is when he was talking about being led by your spirit. Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah. And sitting before God and asking Him. So what is it that you want me to do? And this, right, exactly. Yeah, and that is so freeing. Right? It's so different than what the world teaches us. Right? It's so different, even in many even of our communities that we operate in. That is not something that just is even in our speech. That was what this class kind of really opened up for me as well. Whether it was in this book, or Dr. Bruce, or in our teachings, that if we really turn ourselves over and make God the authority, and we're obedient, our spirit to His, what a different way it is to live. That for sure is a new way. It was definitely a new way for me in so many ways. Sharon. Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of what has to do with the choices of right and wrong, literally, it all starts with us. And I'm seeing it more, this class opens up, I'm seeing it a lot more. One of my family members is just constantly just in this depressed state. Climbing down, and when I started taking him to church and started talking to him a little bit more, just constant negativities pouring out, just everything, this, that, and his life is just a downward spiral. Nothing, right? And this guy, divorce, debt cards, literally just seeing his life unfold, and just nothing ever could go right. And so I started going over there and saying, church, trying to put a little bit more positive into his life. And I just started thinking about it. Well, he's like, how can you be positive if all you did is negative? And so that made me think, well, when somebody's constantly giving you negative stuff, what's our first reaction? Push it back and start giving a bunch of negative. And, this is garbage in, garbage out. That's literally a computer term.
Right.
You put into that computer. Computers are smart, but they're only as smart as what's coming in.
Exactly.
So what you program is exactly what's going to come out of it.
Right.
So if you stuff that out with negativity, then you're just developing your progressive cycle.
Exactly.
So if you bring your mind to only, or you just tell yourself, think positive things, say positive things. It comes back to the old saying of, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. Our moms, our parents always told us that. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, and I always told them, I said, well, what happens when this, which you either don't say anything or you just say something nice, or you just redirect.
Mm-hmm.
Equate it to changing the channel. You're watching something, whether it's good programming or bad programming, what are you doing? You want to find what you want to watch, you're going to change the channel.
Mm-hmm.
It's your decision.
Right.
You can either sit there and watch that bad stuff and be like, I really want to watch this news program right now, I really want to watch my sports programs. But that's your decision of, what's positive. Positive is you want to watch something that you want to watch, not something that you want to sit there and watch. Now you're in launch.
Right.
You don't want that. What do? You change the channel.
Right. Well, and that's really great, because the thing is, of what you're talking about even, is even asking God, what is that for you? What is that for each of us, right? When we raise our children, they're little bitty guys, and so, we have to help them to make good choices, right? I mean, that's kind of our job as parents, grandparents, to help them make good choices. But at some point, they're not going to have us around. They're going to have to make decisions about their choices. And so we go from that external control, teaching them in some ways, I mean, again, however we teach them, the purpose is to hopefully at some point for them to be able to make good choices as they become adults. Right? And there's a transitioning period. For us, when we have lived lives, when we have gotten bad habits, when we have addictions, whatever these strongholds are, God is asking us to transition those, away from those, into a way in which we can live our lives as He has purposed us to live them. Exactly. And it is by choice. It is by revelation. It is by redemption. It is by choices. Exactly. It is by the filling of the Holy Spirit that that gift is the most precious gift of all. And that's why. Exactly. All right. We're going to go on break.